A dead simple cost model is one of the most important tools in any e-commerce or physical product business. And even if all you have is an idea, making a cost model is the next step to making it real life. I've made countless products in all kinds of consumer categories, and I've sold millions of units of CPG. In this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how I make a functional cost model to start validating an idea. In this video, we're gonna cover how I think about loss, labor, shipping and fulfillment costs, building an MVP cost model versus one that's more accurate at scale. And finally, I'm gonna give you the template that I use to do this every time I'm thinking about a new product or thinking about iterating or changing one that I've already got. The goal of this, and what I call a functional cost model, is to create a model of what it costs to make, sell, and fulfill a single unit of your widget. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to use a skincare product as an example, and we're gonna build it together. So here's our trusty template. I'm gonna show you how this works as we build it out more, but as you can see, it's pretty straightforward, not rocket science here. All right, I said we're gonna start with skincare. I'm gonna jump over to Jack Henry, not showing you this to try and reverse engineer anything that they're doing, but just because we gotta show something, might as well give some love to the guys at Jack Henry. So as a starting point, I want to take a look at their body wash, right? And how this is composed. The assumption here is I want to make a body wash today. We got a 13.5 ounce bottle. It's in a pump bottle. In the event I wanted to go compete with this, I'd be looking at things like the size they're selling it in. Obviously the price point, it's a different conversation. What kind of packaging? This is in a pump bottle. All right, so coming back to my sheet, I'm going to start listing out the components I know are part of the product that I'm building. Okay, so things first, a bottle, right? For the purposes of this, I'm going to show you guys an MVP. So my first version of this product, I'm probably not gonna order thousands of custom units, which means I'm gonna be getting a stock bottle and it's probably gonna have a label, all right? So the label is absolutely a line in this cost model. All right, bottle, label, obviously the base ingredient or the base product. In the case of skincare, I'm assuming you're diving into this world, right? There's probably gonna be like some scenting, etc. Let's see, what else we have here? Maybe I'm dead set on having a box, right? So outer box, call it outer unit box. Whether or not I'm going to a co-packer or this is something I'm developing on my own would depend on a couple of the lines here. I'm gonna assume that I'm doing the work myself. Even if that's something, even if my time is free, or that's labor I'd hire out later, I want to have some sort of labor consideration, again, for what it takes to put this together for the MVP. The future version of this might be with a co-packer, yada, yada, yada. We're working on the MVP today. All right, so I've got bottle, label, base product, scenting, outer unit box, labor. We'll start there, all right? So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm looking for a pump bottle. I'm gonna go to a place I often go for MVP packaging, that is containerandpackaging.com. This is a great place to get good pricing on stuff. You could also jump on Amazon and buy 50 at a time. It's gonna be much more expensive, but again, we're looking at MVP here. So let's see, I'm gonna jump up here. I'm thinking plastic, and I wanna start with similar sizing to Jack Henry, assuming that they've kind of fleshed out the market and have decided on something like this 13 ounce size. And I'm cruising here. Here, let's do a 16, that's simple. All right, so here's a 16 ounce clear PET plastic Boston Round, all right? The bottle itself is 94 cents. In these more modest quantities, as you can see, if you get big scale, it gets down to 68. Not worried about that today. So I'm gonna go over to my sheet and I'm going to go 16 ounce Boston Round. And I'm gonna put 98 cents in there. Whoops, 94 cents, excuse me, 0.94. All right, coming back here, this page is gonna show me some matching lid options. If we wanna do that, that pump top, here is the pump. We forgot that when I initially laid this stuff out, so pump top. I'm gonna link this 16 ounce here in my thing so that as we build this, this kind of becomes a Bible for the bomb, if you will. Talk more later about what a bomb is. Okay, so yada, yada, yada. This is the same size lid as the top of my bottle. It's 30 cents at this volume. Great, 0.3, link that here, voila. All right, so now we've got the bottle and the pump top. When it comes to labels, I'm not gonna bore you guys with it, but also on this page, we don't need to get into specifically how I do this for this product, but in the product specs, it's gonna tell you things like label size. I'm then going to go, again, the version of this where we can make 10 of them is gonna be label stock that we can print off on our printer at home. And so I'm gonna assume that doing a nice full color print on a 8.5 by 11 that I can do 3 labels per run is going to cost us, let's say 20 cents to be overly pessimistic, right? Again, this is for the MVP, something I can make 10, 20, 50 of. Now the base product, we'll do another video about like sourcing product and finding manufacturers, but I happen to know the skincare space well. And I know that I'm going to go directly to Essential Labs for something like this. The details here are not important. This is not the point of this video. I'm gonna search for body wash. All right, there's all kinds of options. I'm going to choose a clear peppermint and tea tree body wash. Awesome, here we go. For my starting quantity, I'm gonna assume I can buy 5 gallons at a time. Obviously, when it's time to go big, you can get 55. Costs go down dramatically, but here we go. For 5 gallon, it's $394.22. All right, that's where I'm gonna jump over here. So remove the formatting there. So at $394 for 5 gallons of the base product. Again, I'm linking this so I can kind of build this into my Bible as we go. All right, that comes to a per ounce cost of 62 cents. In here, I kind of doubt so you can do multiple columns for multiple sizes. So dropping that 16 in here, now I'm gonna come to my base product and go, great. This is the per ounce cost times the number of ounces in this particular configuration. Voila, $9.86 of the base product here. All right, now I told you I'd mention loss. If you have a contract manufacturer, you're just gonna have a unit cost here. You don't have to think about that. If you are making the first version of this in your home or at your warehouse or at your small business, I would come to this and I would basically factor in 5 to 10% loss depending on your process. So for the purposes of this, I'm just gonna take what that cost is and go, times 1.1, that would be an extra 10% cost of the base is applied there. If you are modifying your product at home, if you're adding scents to this base in the case of our example, you could add those unit costs here to the scenting line. I'm buying an already scented base that probably smells delicious. I'm going to delete that for the purposes of this example. All right, now again, let's say we want to do an outer box where this pump bottle comes inside of a box. A lot of ways to get kind of stuff done. I like pack lane if you want, 50 to 100 kind of quantities. It's super expensive, but again, for validating things. So they'll also do mailer boxes, shipping boxes, so on and so forth. I'm gonna go to product box, take a look at this. I don't know that my dimensions here are gonna line up with my example perfectly, but let's say that this is gonna fit in a 2.5 or 2.25 by 2.25 by 6. I want a thicker white box, gloss coating. I want printing on just the outside. And they start at $250 now. They used to do less, but that's fine. So $259 each. So again, at this 250 quantity, our outer unit box is gonna probably break the model at $259, but such is life. Before we get to labor and after unit box, we need to be thinking about things like shipping, packaging, and shipping related costs, right? So we need to do some sort of shipper. We can either do something branded really expensive, or we can go to Uline and just find a cheap corrugated box that's the right size. There we go, corrugated boxes. Let's see here. So again, we're not going to use this as an example to see if my research skills are perfect, but let's go for example purposes, say, great, this 6x6 is right. It is 45 cents. I'm gonna grab that. Indicate here, this is just a boring brown shipper box. It is 45 cents, great. I could also come over to a site like No Issue and be like, cool, I wanna do branded tape on my box, right? Jump in here, packaging, tape, a little water activated, and I could go, great. Not gonna test my math out, but if I get 10 rolls, they're $12 per unit. Each roll is gonna be good for 72 packages. So then my shipping tape line is going to be 12 divided by 72 packages. Totally making it. Great. So now 17 cents per unit to ship for the tape specifically. All right. Next, I would run time trials. I would run how much labor it takes me to get my product packaged and in the bottle, ready to ship. And then what is the labor to get it actually out the door? I wouldn't include things like going to the post office, because anytime you do that, you're going to be doing it for 5, 10, 20 different units. But I would look at that and back into what is my actual labor here, because even if it's me today, at some point it's not going to be. At some point you're going to have a co-packer quoting you what that labor is going to cost you, and you're going to want to have a basis for like the actual hard labor cost. So I would use a number like $20 an hour, and I would estimate from there. Even if this is a low skill job that's actually 15 or 17 or something like that, estimating high is going to help you account for things like benefits and the true cost of having an employee. And so doing that, let's say that it's 50 cents per unit to get this thing ready and out the door. Cool. I'm gonna link my packaging tape thing here like we did. All right, next line I want to think about here is shipping. If you plan to offer free shipping, you should absolutely build the cost of that free shipping into your cost model. I don't recommend doing free shipping in this day and age, but if you're going to, then you need to know that it is going to be on average, $6 per package to ship. And that becomes part of your unit economics. Your accountants will say, no, that's not the way it works. No, these are cost of goods sold and shipping and expense. None of that matters, right? Our goal here is to have a understanding of our unit economics to make and fulfill a sale. And if you're gonna do free shipping, that is absolutely part of it. I'm not going to for this, so I'm deleting it out. Cool, so here we've got a rundown of our product, right? We've got a base product that comes in at $10.84 with 10% loss. We're doing in a bottle that costs 94 cents with a 32. I thought that pump top was 32 cents, you guys. Nope, 30 cents. A 30-cent pump top, a DIY label on that bad boy is gonna be 20 cents. We're putting it in a $2.59 box, which is crazy. But again, this is an MVP, doesn't matter with scale. We have a 45-cent shipper box, 17-cent branded shipping tape. And on average, our labor to get all that done, even if it's me today, is gonna be 50 cents. So our total COG on this 16-ounce body wash product that we've just put together is just under $16. At this stage, I would go and start doing product research to figure out what kind of price this product is gonna support. That's obviously gonna vary greatly depending on brand, who you're targeting, so on and so forth. For the purposes of this, why don't we call it 40 bucks, right? That's probably north of something you just grab at the grocery store. It's much cheaper than something like a Jack Henry or something similar. And as we start to put this together, we can see that if our average sale price is $40 with our $15.99 COGS, our gross margin there before any expenses like rent, employees, so on and so forth, is going to be 60%. Now, if you're doing this for the first time, I want to make clear the difference between markup and margin. Margin is your profit divided by the overall revenue. They're very different things, very easy to confuse. So profit divided by overall revenue. Let's look at the equation for that. That means it is what you sell it for minus what it costs you divided by what you sold it for. Boom, 60% gross margin. If you're planning to go into retail, my first insight here is that 40 bucks retail is not enough, right? Because your retailer is gonna need to get a keystone on their pricing, which means they're gonna want it at 20. And if we type 20 in here, then getting 20% wholesale is pretty rough. That's not a business that I would do. It's a business I have done. It's not one I would do again. So once you have a model like this built out, as you can see, it's very easy to modify around different scenarios. So maybe I'm gonna label this as my MVP, super low quantity. This is like if I wanted to do like 200, right? The MOQ on this packaging was 250, I think, right? I could do, hey, let's look at this if it's an 8-ounce, smaller bottle. Let's look at this at full scale. If this works, it's a home run and I can do 5,000 units, right? And I might come through here, start with all these as a starting point, but go, look, I can get that bottle for 64 cents at scale from Container and Packaging, or call a packaging manufacturer and look at what it takes to get it custom with your branding on it directly from them, right? Maybe it's more like 44 cents or something to that effect. Same story here. Biggest opportunity probably in this little cost model is going to be this outer unit box packaging at $2.59. If you can get 5,000, 10,000 of those, especially from China, that's probably well under $1. So maybe these come in at 70 cents at scale. And then you've got the labor piece, right? Maybe you talk to the manufacturer of that base product and you see that at 55 gallons at a time, it's much cheaper here. And then you use what you know about your labor to get it done, to go negotiate a per piece price where they sell you the product, they do the filling, it's into a branded bottle, so there is no more labeling, et cetera, et cetera. All right, that's a rundown. I have used this template or a version very similar to it to do countless product cost models. It is the next step in bringing your idea to life. I'm gonna link to the template itself and a couple of these links I've showed you for quick and easy MVP packaging and stock bottles you can get off the shelf. All that good stuff below in the description. And that is all for now, folks. See you next time.